Town Square Media Station.
WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Ole Miss won the toss. Alabama won the toss rather than deferred, so Ole Miss receives the opening kickoff, which is a touchback system, even without spring practice because of COVID-19. Nice fake and a big play on the first play from scrimmage. The Rebels like to go very quickly. Another play fake, another open receiver. Nice move through the open field by the tight end, Kenny Yeboah, all the way down inside the 5-yard line. For catch coming in. Corral fakes the run, has a man open. It's Yeboah for the Ole Miss touchdown.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on this Monday edition as we kick things off with a little bit of Ole Miss Rebels from 2020 within a matter of about 60 seconds. Lane Kiffin and company took it down the field straight at Alabama. Touchdown to the tight end. Will we see a lot of that on Saturday, as now the defensive coordinator for that game is now the defensive coordinator for the Ole Miss Rebels, and Pete Golding? Will he give insight into how to attack Alabama? Think about this for a second. These two coaches, one knows the defense, the other is a offensive genius. Will they have a game plan that puts them in a position to fully take advantage of the Alabama Crimson Tide? You're in with the Martin Houston Show. We're going to be talking about that all week long. Got a great show lined up for you today. The playbook today includes Kennington Smith III of The Athletic joining us in the second quarter, and we'll break down the good, the bad, the ugly for Alabama football as we move throughout the program from their win that felt like a loss on Saturday, as they got the 17-3 victory, barely getting to 17. Defense played great. Offense, question mark. Got several questions for you today. First and foremost, I want to know, Bama fans, after what you saw on Saturday, do you think this quarterback competition was ever close? Should Saban be embarrassed by Saturday's performance? Does Jalen Milroe start Saturday? And then the keys to victory for Bama versus Ole Miss. We'll break it all down. You're welcome to get in on the conversation. 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. You can always add your thoughts and your comments. I cannot wait. Look like they're already coming in on the chat, but add them in on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Martin Houston 35 on YouTube and Twitter, the Martin Houston fan page Martin Houston fan page 35. Let me see, Tide 109, X's and O Sports, MaXSports, all of those you can tune in via the live stream in various capacities. So we have room for you today. I'm gonna tell you. Before I do anything else. This is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. I have to apologize to all of you because I made the statement that I did say that we wouldn't know anything about how good these quarterbacks were, even if they went out and had a great game against USF. Well, we didn't see that. But I said that we could win with either of these guys. Well, I was wrong. And if okay. X, welcome into the program. How you doing, man?
I am doing good on this Monday morning.
Well, I can tell you, I have been a post-Alabama graduate since 1988. I mean, 92, I'm sorry. And 31 years. It was hard for me to watch that game before the game. So I'm going to be open and honest with you guys. A lot of respect went out the window with what happened Saturday before the game. A lot of respect. Had a really, really hard time watching Alabama and even pulling for Alabama. And it wasn't because of the players. It was just that situation before anything ever happened. It was hard because one of the things Coach Saban has always told us is what? The players know who can play. The players know who the best player is. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of practices, but I saw enough to know that there was no competition. And that's with them trying to make you can manufacture something to make it look like it's close by refusing to go all in with one guy versus the other. I've watched Anthony Richardson, unfortunately got a concussion. Looked like he could be a really, really good NFL player, but due to concussions, he's had to end up out of he got hurt at the end of a first game, got a concussion yesterday, but doing good things because they went all in with him. I just had a hard time. I'm just being honest. I had a hard time being an Alabama graduate, understanding football and seeing how that decision was made based off of what that young man did against Texas. Somebody needs to tell me, how do you feel? Who all needs to call Jalen Milroe up and apologize? Because if we gave up 6 sacks against that team, don't come trying to make it sound like, oh, they have all these exotic blitzes and all that stuff is the reason we got sacked. Come on now. X, what's your thoughts on the game?
I'm going to tell you, I didn't get to say this on the show Friday because of being under the weather, but I told Tamara that what happened Saturday, because of the way this whole thing is played out, is what I wanted to happen. And the fact that I felt like he got shafted and was the only blame. And I said, I will feel different if he's not the only change. We saw a left tackle get whooped for the second game in a row. They didn't take him out except for when his helmet came off. We've seen our center continue to have bad snaps, not a change made. If you look at the secondary against Texas, you can't tell me somebody shouldn't have got moved in that. So I just watched that game and this is what happens when you try to throw one guy under the bus. And Bama looked the worst I can remember, at least since the ULM Milroe game in 2007. And I can't even tell you how bad they looked for a win in how long.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it was said that some people need to respond differently and all of that. So undoubtedly, Milroe must have had a bad response to scrimmage. So my question is, if you saw what you saw out there and you've been telling the whole world that it's close, players know and he knows. Why Milroe and every other player on that team know that those two guys aren't even in the same stratosphere with Milroe. But Saban has made it close. Let me get to Robert and give him a little time before we have to get to Kennington. Robert, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, man. Well,
Hey,
I didn't know why Nick Saban, said it was close. Maybe he's trying to get, light more of a fire on the Milroe to get him to take that next step in improvement, that he needs to take. And he was over and made some, let him know, hey, there's some competition out there. I need you to take this next step. And maybe that's the reason.
let me ask you this: did you watch that game and think that those two guys were even close to him?
The gap isn't, ginormous because, Milroe. Let me finish. Can I finish? The gap isn't on the level of, he's on Tua's level or Jalen's
No, he's not.
level. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The gap isn't that big to where, okay, yeah, maybe he can convince you of that. Now, Milroe's definitely the better quarterback of the three, and that's kind of unfortunate because he needs to take the next level up. And I think Nick Saban was trying to push him to get to that next level. So have a team, a team that can, that can win the big games. And right now, I don't have confidence in any quarterback that can win the big game.
But Robert,
Stop having him run an offense. I just want to say, you know why the gap looks closer than what it actually is? Because they're not catering the offense to him.
Right.
If he's your guarantee, if they cater the offense to Jalen, that gap grows. We saw Lane Kiffin, who we're playing on Saturday, was the mastermind of it. Blake Sims, Jake Coker, Jalen Hurts. 3 separate quarterbacks, 3 different skill sets, and they all were phenomenal because he catered the offense to them. And that's what we haven't seen with Jalen Milroe.
I got the Robert. Go ahead and finish up because I got to get the break. I'll let you have the closing thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's been Nick Saban's MO for years. He doesn't like change to but I guess he feels wholesale, where he has to do a humongous change. He don't mind tweaking, but when you talk about now I got to look more like Gus Malzahn's offense, which right now that's what he would have to do. Turn it, look more like Gus Malzahn, gimmicky offense for a quarterback like Milroe.
But is it the quarterback or is it the offensive line?
As well? Yeah, I'm going to get to that too. I'm going to get that too.
Hold on.
It's not in it. Oh, sure.
I want you to be able to finish your comments. I'll let you come back with Kennington. Is that okay?
Okay, thanks, man.
All right. Mm-hmm. Coming back on the other side, we'll add Kennington Smith III to the conversation. We'll let Robert finish his thoughts, and you can get in on the conversation as well.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything looking pretty good on the roadways on this Monday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you see conditions, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. $2,000, $5,000, up to $8,000 instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs at Townsend Nissan, your family in the car business. I'm Captain Ray.
Football is back, and no one does it better than the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This season, you can watch the games with nothing on the line. Boring. Or you can make a play in the starting lineup. The Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino puts you into the big plays with big bets and big wins, making every game more exciting than ever. It's time for the sports glory you deserve. without breaking a sweat. The Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game. Must be 21.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Tide 100.9 and Local Bank are proud to present Hometown Heroes. Each month, we'll take nominations for local heroes from law enforcement, firefighters, educators, and medical professionals. Our Hometown Heroes will be featured on the Tide 100.9 website. Log online to Tide100.9.com and nominate a Hometown Hero today. Winners will receive lunch at Texas Roadhouse. Local Bank is a proud sponsor of Hometown Heroes. Local Bank puts customers first. Local people, local decisions. Local Bank, 1635 McFarland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa, and online at mylocal.bank. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice day today with sunshine and full supply. Tuscaloosa's high 83. Clear and cool tonight, the low 59. And the weather stays dry tomorrow and Wednesday. Lots of sunshine both days. Highs between 83 and 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 57 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Where they competed in the game and play great, had a lot of adversity to overcome and kept answering the bell when we needed to do it. Special teams, changed field position quite a bit. James with his punting was outstanding. We had a couple others that we could have got down if the Gunners would have done a good job. But, when you lose players like K-Law and Terrion Arnold is usually the Gunners, well, I don't like for starters to play on more than 2 special teams. So he wasn't a Gunner, K-Law wasn't a Gunner, and those guys are really good at down on the ball, catching the ball. So we got 2 new Gunners in there. So, but that's the cumulative effect sometimes when you start to lose players. The next guy's got to be able to step up. But we didn't execute great, so I don't feel great about that. But the way we competed in the game was, I think, outstanding.
Do you, as a Bama fan, after a 17-3 win, feel good that your coach is talking about he's great, he's happy with the way the team competed in that game? Did you feel like Bama? I'm not giving an opinion one way or the other. Did you feel like Bama competed in that game? It was 10-3. 10-3 until Alabama's last offensive drive. Did the coach make a point? Did he suspend Milroe? Did Milroe do something, talk back? Did Milroe act out of character? What did Milroe do to deserve what happened? You had 2 guys who could not supplant him from the beginning of January of this year, and then spring, and then all summer, then all fall camp, and then he plays against Texas, where he at least gave you a chance to win. After his interception, he came back and took his team down the field again. Responded when he messed up, all of that. And in 1 week, these 2 guys proved to be better than him. Come on now. Somebody's got pride. Somebody's pride is in there somewhere. I'm not saying who was prideful. Maybe Milroe was prideful and Saban's trying to get him to take his game to the next level, as our caller, who I'm getting ready to bring back in, said. But I can't explain what I saw on Saturday, except for as an former Alabama football player, an Alabama fan, and an observer of football. That was embarrassing on Saturday. And a coach, it appeared to be trying to make a point and may have lost his team. May have, I don't know that. May have lost his team because one thing he has said is players always know who the best guy is. Players always know who the best player is at a given position. And if what you saw on Saturday is what they've seen all summer, all spring, all summer, all fall, and you hear your coach going continually before the media saying it's close. I'm not saying that they've always seen that. I saw it when I got to go see it, but and I tried to tell y'all that. If they've been seeing that, and yet you have had your coach not call him by name, not name him a starter, just put him out there first, but never say Jalen Milroe is my starter. Jalen Milroe is my guy. I even tried to point out, I asked someone, well, why didn't the Carolina Panthers bench the first overall draft pick after he threw 2 interceptions and only threw 140-something yards? Why? Because Frank Wright, after seeing practice, said, this guy's my starter, and I'm going to take the rest of this time to get him ready and not have him splitting snaps and splitting time and splitting. Nobody's talking about the fact that you've had this guy who is clearly your best quarterback, splitting reps all spring, all summer, instead of getting him ready to play. And you refuse to go and build it around him. We're going to have Kennington Smith join us, Kennington Smith III, at Skinny Kenny on Twitter. Join the conversation. Then we're going to bring Robert back in. Good morning, Kennington. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, sir. I'm gonna go ahead. I have one caller that's been holding for a while, and he was about to talk about. He had talked about the quarterback position a little bit, but he was about to talk about the O-line. I'm gonna let him respond and let you respond, and we'll get back to it. Okay.
All
right. Robert, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with the crew, Martin, Xavier, and Kennington. Go ahead on that O-line.
Well, can I give me an opinion? Now, I agree with the opinion that you didn't give me earlier.
That I didn't what?
The opinion that you say you weren't going to give us not giving us an opinion of what we thought about, the game. I agree with the opinion that you didn't give me. Going back to O-line, I'm definitely more convinced now that there was the number one problem, of course, is the O-line. And Tommy Rees, he was not showing that it's not impressive at all. I don't know if he's just bad as a offense coordinator, or if Nick Saban is telling him, hey, I want it done this way or whatever. Yeah. But either way, the offense is either the coordinator is not performing well. Like you say, we should change it over to a Milroe style, what works for him. And I think Nick Saban's trying to recreate the 2015 Jake Coker year, where he did something similar with Coker.
Yeah.
All year long, same thing with Coker. I think he's trying to recreate that. I think he sees that being that kind of thing.
And Robert, I agree. I will let you go. But Robert, I agree. I said, okay, maybe he's trying to do what he did with Coker, where he was. This is what I said. I said Kiffin wanted Bateman, Cooper Bateman, and he said, okay, I'm gonna show you this guy can't play. But when he put Ty Simpson at number 2, I said, well, I don't know what he's doing now. So I think it
was a doghouse. I think it was a doghouse incident.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Thanks, Robert. We'll talk to you later this week. All right, Kennington, welcome to Alabama football, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I mean, what a time to join the Alabama media. I probably have seen more drama in the last 3 weeks than most of my colleagues have seen probably since they've started, honestly. No matter what point they came on the beat, this is probably the most drama that they've seen in such a short amount of time. But
we've had three different weeks. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just crazy to kind of see it happen and unravel in this way. We come into this season and we say to ourselves, we know quarterback is a question, and we say to ourselves, well, multiple guys are probably going to play, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to happen in this way, which makes it so jarring. And then, as we head into SEC play, maybe there's a clear answer for number one. I feel like it's an easy option, but it's also the answer is both simple and complicated at the same time, because whoever you go with is not a perfect product. Each one of them has flaws in their own way, and it's just going to be something that Alabama's probably going to have to roll with whoever is going to be the starter.
Watching Jalen Milroe, I need someone to tell me what's so bad about Jalen Milroe's play. I need somebody to tell me what's so bad about his play. He did have 2 interceptions. And I heard a professional analyst say on his second interception, he said he should have looked him off. Well, where was he going to look? You sent 2 routes, both on the outside edge. Nothing down the middle of the field. So one safety went to the right, the other safety went to the left. Now, if the analyst had said he should have looked, saw it, pre-read it, saw that the safety to the left was cheating to the left, so he knew that wasn't going to be an option because he knew what the route was. And maybe if the analyst had said he should have just thrown this away, then I would have agreed with that analyst. But to say he should have looked him off, where was he going to look him at? The 2 safeties just went to the side. Now, that's where he didn't read correctly. But you know what? I saw Josh Allen cost his team a game against the Jets. He had 3 interceptions and a fumble. The next week, he came back and he played great. And I think that's what Saban missed an opportunity to do. You watch that game, and do you really think that this competition was close?
No, it doesn't look like it. At least I think it's fairly obvious who gives Alabama the best opportunity to win. And going back to that Texas game, you do make a lot of great points, and I think the section of the fan base that is putting this loss on Milroe, let's add some context here. To your point, he did have 2 interceptions, but the drive following each interception, he went and got those points right back. He threw an interception on the first drive. Texas scores a field goal. Next drive, Alabama matches that, gets 3. And then when Milroe throws the interception, Texas goes up 27-16. Milroe goes right back, gets a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And then the defense gives up a touchdown for the team to go back down 10. Right. Jalen Milroe gave Alabama the lead going into the fourth quarter. What happened? Texas, boom, 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 down the field in 5 plays, retakes the lead. So it's not just all on Jalen Milroe. And he did move the ball against, Texas. Good enough to win, honestly. I mean, Alabama was winning in the fourth quarter. How many fourth quarter leagues have we seen Alabama blow? Not very many. And 2 of his touchdowns got erased by penalties. That weren't his fault. So I'm not really understanding the rationale here. Maybe it was just to just put Buckner and Simpson in a game-like situation against a team that, 9 times out of 10 you're going to beat on talent alone, just to see what it looks like, but at what cost? Because, to your point, the players know who the best option is, and offensively, the cohesion, the effort, the timing was not there throughout the afternoon. Defense, I thought the defense played well. That side of the ball did enough to win the game, but offensively, it was not buttoned up almost at any point.
Yeah. And We'll come back on the other side. Great analysis, Kennington. That's Kennington Smith III. We'll come back on the other side. Keep the conversation going. We can get good, bad, and ugly keys to victory. I'm going to add a few of the comments from chat in and get Kennington's response to those. X will have some questions for Kennington as well. If you have a question for Kennington, give us a call, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. We'll keep it rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 with the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything looking pretty good on the roadways on this Monday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you see conditions, just give me a call, 205-886-8886. $2,000, $5,000, up to $8,000 instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs at Townsend Nissan, your family in the car business. I'm Captain Ray.
Be a part of growing the game of golf in our community. The 2023 Tuscaloosa Toyota Classic, presented by Alabama Credit Union and Buffalo Rock Pepsi, will play at Old Colony Golf on September 29th through October 1st. Take this unique opportunity to see extraordinary young women athletes play professional golf and compete on the LPGA's Epson Tour. Attend for free or register to volunteer at TuscaloosaToyotaClassic.com. That's TuscaloosaToyotaClassic.com.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out. With Boost Infinite, you get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new iPhone 15 Pro that was just announced. Then again, next year, you get the latest iPhone every year. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and save Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and save Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slow. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Former CIA officer and survival expert Jason Hansen here. I teach people how to prepare for the unexpected. Right now, most Americans are not ready for the death of the US dollar. You have money sitting in cash, and if you don't act soon, your financial future could be at risk. I have partnered with Advantage Gold, the #1 rated precious metals company in America, to release my new digital dollar survival kit that's 100% free for everyone who calls today and claims your free survival kit. Simply call 800-900-8000 and give your email address, and I will have this new digital dollar survival kit sent to you immediately. Call 1-800-900-8000 now and claim your free kit, and also mention my name, Jason Hansen, and see how you could also qualify for $1,000 in free silver. Supplies are limited, so call right now before it's too late. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Check with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
He did a great job. He really has been supportive of his teammates, and I was happy to see that, and hopefully we'll all learn lessons from the experiences that we have and move forward in a positive way.
Hopefully we'll all learn lessons from the experiences we have. I hope that goes for the coaching staff at the University of Alabama, not just for the players. MHS 0407 said, Nick Saban's QB experiment was disastrous. Both QBs were terrible. Now the locker room is probably lost. He went on to say, by benching Jalen Milroe, he made an example of him and at the cost of team chemistry. why were not other players benched, especially the center, number 56, Seth, rated out at a 24 against Texas? I had someone tell me that Jalen Milroe had the second lowest grade in the Saban era at quarterback. And I told that person, well, first of all, you have to look at who graded him out. Was it the guy who wanted Buckner? Did Tommy Reese grade him out? Because if that was if you're saying that that's the worst quarterback performance in the Nick Saban era against possibly the most dominant team, here's the difference between Texas beating us, Kennington. That's the first and the only time since Alabama has righted the ship that I've seen at home or away, other than the Clemson game, that we were dominated offensively and defensively. We got beat. Wide receivers got beat. DBs got beat. Running back. We lost every single position battle, every unit except for our punter and our kicker. And that happened at home. And we still were in the game in the fourth quarter. So I don't know, but to MHS 0407's question, do you think this lost the locker room, or will the attitude of Jalen Milroe possibly save this team?
Yeah, I think to say that the locker room is lost, I think is a little presumptuous, because there's an opportunity for the locker room to be galvanized by what happened this weekend against Ole Miss. Yes, the decision to move off of Milroe did backfire, but at the end of the day, Alabama did win the game. If he were to be named the starter, or if Ty Simpson were to be named the starter, and either of those guys play well enough to beat Ole Miss, I think, we're going to kind of look back at this South Florida game as a blip in the road, and then Alabama's going to move forward 4-0, into SEC play. I think that we're probably a little far off from that moment, just because Ole Miss is playing with a lot of momentum. Alabama seemingly doesn't have any momentum, and we don't quite know what's going to happen at quarterback. But I don't think the locker room is lost. I think there's an opportunity for the group to come together, but a lot of it is going to be dependent on who starts at quarterback, and then ultimately how well they play on Saturday.
And it's just yes or no, and then get to a call. Do you think there's any way you can start anybody other than Jalen Milroe and not lose this team?
Yes.
I don't. I don't see how you could play Ty Simpson in front of Jalen Milroe. How can you evaluate what he did against them? He completed one pass beyond 5 yards, probably, and that guy was wide open. There was nothing that made me think. We ran the ball, and then he finally run the ball with Jalen. I really don't think that you can evaluate his performance against Texas and Ty's performance against South Florida and make an evaluation that those two guys are in the same level. I could be wrong, but I don't see how you could do it. And let me get to a quick caller, and I'll let you respond in a minute. Todd, you're in with Kennington Smith III of The Athletic. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. Thank you for taking my call. I'm not going to panic too quick on Saban's decision on the quarterback. I am majorly disappointed. Maybe, I can't get in his mind. Maybe he's thinking, let's give these other two guys a shot during the game. It's South Florida. And I think it kind of backfired on him, trying to get them guys some playing time on the big stage. My biggest disappointment, Martin, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm an O-line guy. Fowler put one of the sacks on Twitter, and going back and watching that play, the sack was bad enough. But let me tell you what was worse, Martin Houston, was that O-lineman, the left tackle, did not even bother to pick up the quarterback and say, "Are you okay? My bad. Are you all right?" Because when I go to war, I want men that I can depend on in my foxhole. And I'm going to tell you right now, That guy right there, he's packing his locker today. That's just my position on the O-line, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd.
Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide. Hey, MHS 047 said last week was all Milroe's fault. Ironically, this week it's the O-line fault. X, you got anything for Kennington?
Yeah. Okay. So Kennington, speaking of the quarterback position, like, what happens now? Like, there's no way you can have a conversation of Tyler Buckner being in the competition. I don't think you can compare a 5-for-9 performance for all of those coming on one play and go, this guy can win us a game against Ole Miss. We talk about Jalen's flaws and things. Ty Simpson has no pocket awareness. He didn't move so many times. I don't know how he didn't get his back broke a couple times because that didn't move an inch.
He didn't realize
how can you go forward and not say we could win?
Kennington?
Yeah. So, first of all, I agree. And I tweeted this after the game that to me, I feel like it's an easy decision of who they should go with. Now, to Martin's question earlier about do I think that they could move forward with another quarterback? And I said, yes. To me, it has to be Ty Simpson. And I understand that the statistics weren't great and most of it did come off of one play, but he had a few flashes where it sparked a little bit of intrigue, and he did lead to 80-plus yard scoring drives. The last one was all running the ball. I think he had a handful of rushing yards himself, but he led 3 scoring drives. He didn't turn the ball over. So if Saban wanted to go with him against Ole Miss, I wouldn't agree with it, but I would understand it a little bit because he did come into a game with no momentum and no first-team reps and still did enough for Alabama to win. Now, where do they go from here is they have
– hold on.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
I'm going to let you finish. No,
Okay.
So I'm looking at the number 2 guy all week in practice. He didn't take any first-team reps. I don't believe that. I don't believe that Jalen Milroe ended up being the third-team guy and Ty didn't take a single first-team rep throughout this week, especially if you thought you might have to play him. Then that first drive, he got 13 yards on 5 plays, and they were all rushing yards, and we kicked the field goal. He had to go 25 for a touchdown and couldn't do it. Then you turn around and you look at that 45 of those yards came in one play, and then the rest was rushing. It was all rushing. If they counted sacks for passing yards like they do in the NFL and college, he would have had 40-something yards passing in the game. Like, Ty Simpson did nothing for me to go, he could be the guy. It was South Florida.
Exactly.
You put Jalen Milroe, in my opinion.
We got a couple more callers, and I think Kennington agrees. Kennington agrees with us that it should be Jalen Milroe. He's saying there's zero chance that you can give the ball to Buckner again. Buckner went from third team with 1 week of practice to second team. And then Milroe went from first team to third team. There's something going on that we don't know. Okay. There's either trying to prove a point or either he's trying to prove a point to Jalen or he's trying to prove a point to Reese or something, or some promises were made or something happened that caused that type of dramatic change in both of those guys. Now the question is, does Saban have enough collateral to get this team in the right direction? We'll talk about it on the other side. We got Alan and Leon. I'll bring both of you guys in. Apologize, may have to be fairly quick with you guys, but definitely going to have you in the conversation on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. We got Kennington Smith, the third of the Athletic, at SkinnyKenny _ on Twitter.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things looking pretty good on the roadways this morning. Now, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give me a call. 205-886-8886. $2,000, $5,000, up to $8,000 instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs at Townsend Nissan, your family in the car business. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Defense attorneys for former Alabama basketball player and capital murder suspect Darius Miles filed a motion Sunday requesting the suppression of statements made by Miles prior to his arrest because of a claimed delay in reading him his Miranda rights. Miles and childhood friend Michael N. Davis are charged with capital murder after 23-year-old Jamia Harris was shot and killed in January on the Strip. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Hope you have a great weekend. When we come back on Monday morning at 9 a.m., we're going to recap Alabama and South Florida. And Rodney Orr will join me from TiderInsider.com, as well as Casey Smith on golf.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
All of the West Alabama high school football scores every Friday night all season long on Tide 100.9. High school score updates brought to you by 4th District Congressman Robert Adderholt.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message Mateo left.
Jake from State Farm, you should know orange juice commercials make me cry. I feel bad for the oranges.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Curtis Moore II said, I agree, Martin Houston. As a lifelong Alabama fan, I was embarrassed, shocked, all caps, angry watching this game live at Raymond James Stadium. I had all types of emotions. Jed Cohen saying, are we gonna see Dylan play QB this week? At the way it's going, who knows? That's right, who knows? We got Kennington Smith III in with us, Alan and Leon, and I'm sorry I'm gonna be kind of rush you guys through, but definitely want to still get you in. Alan, you're in with the crew, Martin, Xavier, and Kennington. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Xavier, check this out. I got an NIL deal. The only thing you got to do is suit up. You win the game for Saturday. Just suit up, buddy. I'm putting you in. I'm in Ohio right now. I'm on my way down there. I already got word. We're packing offense coordinator stuff up the same way I get other offense coordinator ride out of town. I'm gonna get this man a ride out of town, and Buckner's going with him too. And Ty Simpson, you keep talking, he'll be on the way. You'll be on the way too. So I'm totally disappointed in the offensive line. The offensive line can go with them too. I got enough room. I got 5 trucks, and we got 5 trucks, and we can take all of them out at the same time. Line, the coordinators, everybody. Still, all of them got to go. You know, I mean, I'm a Deion fan, and what Deion did Saturday night, I was so proud of him. And I'll be quiet and let y'all talk.
Thanks, Alan. Hey, any comments, Kennington, on that before we get to Leon?
Yeah, that was just hilarious. we can move on. That was hilarious. That's one of my favorite calls since I've joined the show.
Well, Alan is a regular. He just hadn't called on your day. He's a truck driver, so he's in all these other communities and towns and cities around the country. And usually he's out there able to hold his head up high when he wears his Alabama stuff. I don't think he's wearing his Alabama stuff right now. Larry Miller said the following before we bring Leon. He said, the team is in trouble no matter who takes snaps. I don't know if I totally agree with that. We don't have playmakers like we have in the past. I agree with that. We don't have a QB like we've had in the past. I agree with that. But in the most recent past, I think Jalen Milroe is in the same category with Coker, Sims, and McElroy. The O-line nor the D-line is anywhere near the Bama standard. Agree with that. Now let's bring Leon. Leon is always a great caller, very level-headed. So let's see what he has to say. Leon, you're in with Kennington Smith III on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
We talk about everything except for just dealing with the bottom line of evaluating quarterback play for seriousness. The defense took 6 possessions from South Florida. Now we're talking about South Florida.
6.
And the tie. Yep, they turned them over down 4 times and 2 interceptions.
6. I tweeted that to someone. I texted it to someone. And I said, guys, you need to understand we had the equivalent of 6 turnovers and we barely beat 15.
The Tide Twins managed for an offense together combined 2 touchdowns. Come on, man. Jalen Milroe is not an excellent quarterback by no stretch. But Jalen Milroe did well better than that against Middle Tennessee State, which is a more formidable opponent than South Florida. Come on, man. South Florida almost high school level, man. And we had 2 quarterbacks, neither of which could muster but 17 points, man. Come on now. Let's just look at it for what it's worth. I understand a lot of people have their feelings about these kids, and a lot of it got to do with a lot of the stuff other than, and I'm not going to go there. But come on, man. The bottom line, Jalen Milroe is the best thing we have for that position right now. And I'm not giving him a 100 grade.
Right.
But I promise you, his grade has got to be well better than both of those guys put together, man. Come on, them guys can't play quarterback at that level, man. I see that.
Yes. Thanks, Leon. And I would tell you, Saban has said who gives us the best chance to win is who he was going to have at starting quarterback. That's his criteria. He didn't say which one was elite.
Right.
Which one of these guys gives us the best chance to win? And if anybody watched Saturday and walked away thinking that there's if there's any question, there must be some type of catastrophe going on at practice.
You're right. Because unless Nick Saban and Tommy Reeves and anybody else in this whole world is blind, you can obviously see, man, Jalen Milroe gives you the best chance to win with that particular offense. That's simple, man.
Yeah, thanks.
You really can't argue it. People might want to argue, but you really can't argue that, man. Just look with your own eyes.
The eye test. Thanks, Leon. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, hey man, have a good day, man.
You too. All right, Kennington. With that assessment of what he said, the criteria he's looking for, I don't think they can go anywhere else. And here's the question I have for you, Kennington, and then I do a couple rapid fires with you. With this, just in general, but magnified by this O-line play, what you saw with these quarterbacks' inability to sense the pocket, elude rush, or even sense the pocket collapsing, does that not even magnify Jalen's help in terms of this position?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something I tweeted as well when I was talking about who I think should be the starter is when you have an offensive line that is that poor in pass protection, you need somebody to be able to extend plays. That might come with, some turnover-worthy moments, but Jalen Milroe, time and time again this year, has turned bad snaps or, getting rushed in the pocket into positive yardage. And just to have that dynamic, you need that in this offense above the other 2 options. Last thing before we get into the rapid fire, here's just a few statistics to throw at you. The question is who moves Alabama's offense the best? So I charted every play, every drive from all 3 quarterbacks in all 3 games this season. Yards per play in terms of the total offense, Jalen Milroe, close to 7 yards per play. Simpson and Buckner are both under 5 yards per play. Milroe has the advantage in yards per drive. he has the advantage in points per drive, and he has the advantage in third down percentage. So, if we're looking at, some pretty key metrics in terms of moving the ball, Jalen Milroe has outclassed the other two in several categories.
So now the question becomes, can Tommy Rees handle this job? Even if you don't go to a read option style offense, when is this coaching staff going to move the pocket, provide some chip assists to Caden Proctor? Caden Proctor may be all world, but right now he is really, really bad. I mean, I don't want to break a young man's confidence, but really bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And I think it's also telling that, when you're looking at every position on offense in terms of switching around positions and rotating guys in and out, there hasn't been much rotation on the offensive line. Terrence Ferguson played because Brooker was hurt, and I thought he played, fairly well. But the fact that they're not going to other tackle options or other options along the offensive line, I think indicates a lack of depth along that unit, which, only emphasizes how important it is for this first team group, to improve and elevate their play.
And I'll say this, and Xavier has a question for you. Kennington, if you felt the need to bench Jalen Milroe to give your team a better chance to win after his performance against Texas, and you didn't feel that with the left tackle, and you don't feel that after this, you've promised that young man something. X, real quick, we only got about 90 seconds to ask you a question really quick.
Yeah, just speaking of that, why do you think we've seen it done in the past? Why was J.C. Latham not ever moved to left tackle and Proctor come in and start at the right tackle position? Like, what is it about this team where you don't see the normal changes that have happened?
Xavier, quick, Kennington.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Usually you see the right tackle go to the left. I'm not sure what the rationale there is, but Proctor is definitely struggling. I would definitely welcome the change there.
Yeah, I would say is J.C. Latham probably knows that he's not a great left tackle, and it would hurt his draft status. I'm just being honest. Kennington, tell them where they can find you and what you got coming up real quick, sir.
Deep dive analysis on quarterbacks, snap count analysis coming today, and more this week. Find me on Twitter at SkinnyKenny_ and at the Athletic app, Kennington Smith III.
All right. Hey, guys, we weren't able to get to everybody, but that is at Kennington Smith III. You can keep up with him all week long at the Athletic on the internet, and then you can follow him on Twitter. Great follow at SkinnyKenny_. Thanks, Kennington. We'll catch up with you next week. We didn't even get to get into the Ole Miss thing, so we may have to circle back with you at some point this week. Alabama has a great opportunity to right the ship. Will Saban make the tough choices? We'll talk about it. We'll have DC Capstone Report coming on tomorrow. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That was Kennington Smith III. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters. Sorry we weren't able to get everybody in and wasn't able to get all of your comments, but we'll be back tomorrow to keep it rolling right here on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on Tide 100.9 app.
Now is a rebel. Luke Logan for the extra point. And Ole Miss gave up over 400 yards.
Pretty good on the roadways this morning.